Puffy's sons and my sons have been best friends since they were 6, 7 years old. I didn't make it happen and Puffy didn't make it happen. One night I was at my house and Puffy's son was over about like 9 o'clock. And I'm like, cuz, what time you going home? And he like, I'm spending the night. I'm like, did you tell your dad? He like, nah, my mom dropped me off. So Kim, rest in peace, was connecting my kids with Puff kids, and they formed a friendship and a bond. When Justin went to UCLA, my son went to UCLA. When Christian was rapping, my son was rapping. When he was modeling, they was flying over the world together. So they forged a friendship and a brotherhood that me and Puff always.
Diddy really screwed up, and I'm not referring to his criminal trial, which has him sitting in prison right now, but it has to do with something that happened right before he got arrested. If you've seen the Netflix documentary about Diddy, Diddy The Reckoning, which 50 Cent produced, there's some footage there that had never been seen before. This is a photographer that Diddy hired to follow him around and document his life. That footage ended up going to 50 Cent.
And maybe that's what Snoop went through, I don't know. But let the people know, because it was too early back then. Pac just had died.
So this one night, 50 called me up, and they got him on the phone, man. He was just talking. We was talking about old time shit. Sit down with Black Hands, sit down with with Puff kids, the whole Puff situation, and this documentary that he's going to be doing.
Many people anticipated that the main focus of 50 Cent's Netflix documentary, Sean Combs, The Reckoning, would remain on Diddy, his ascent to prominence, his impact in the business, and his eventual demise. Rather, the topic of conversation swiftly changed. Soon after, Snoop Dogg was drawn into the story by online accusations that he was remaining silent, being secretly looked into, or being shielded in some way because specific information was left out of the documentary. Some pundits went even farther, transforming Gene Deal's and other people's comments into far more compelling assertions. To support mainly hypothetical theories, old interviews, hazy film snippets, and second-hand audio were repeated and reframed. As usual, social media exacerbated the confusion, leaving followers wondering what 50 Cent might know, asking why Snoop Dogg was silent, and expecting yet another significant business reckoning. However, the reality seems far less dramatic when the noise is removed. Rather than supported facts, a large portion of the disagreement is fueled by exaggeration, misunderstanding, and rehashed stories. In this video, we analyze the origins of these accusations, what Gene Deal actually said, what is and is not covered in the documentary, Snoop Dogg's response, and which claims are verified, refuted, or remain unsubstantiated as the story progresses.
From Suge Knight. It's from his podcast with Dave Mays, and he's speaking on, Tupac and Snoop being cool, and how, after Tupac got killed, Snoop started hanging out with Diddy. And, he also speaks on how, Snoop, he did the Steve Harvey show with Diddy after Tupac got killed. Check this out.
Okay. Let's download right now.
Then you look at the scenario how everybody used Pac to make their stuff famous or make their project better. You got people who use their songs for Pac and tell them how much they love Pac, but they do songs for Puffy. You got Steve Harvey a whole bit that, this motherfucker telling, well, Pac, according to everybody else, he brings Snoop and Puffy on there and say, these the dudes who's running this in the East Coast, West Coast.
What's up, Snoop?
What's up, huh? Hey, whoa, wait a minute, fellas here, hold on. I know all about this East Coast, West Coast rivalry thing here, but we in Chicago now. This rivalry stuff, we gotta stop it, man. We stop that, we stop a lot of this violence.
Yo, Steve, check this, man. All that East Coast, West Coast stuff is a bunch of media hype. It's been my dog from day one, you know what I'm saying? It's all good between me and him. That's my people.
Real, that's what we came in for. We came in and light it up and ride it up. We never used to hand.
Now, Pac, if you love Pac so much, how you with the motherfucker that everybody say got something to do with the first get down that happened to Pac in New York, then the second one.
what you think about Suge comments. And I never asked you this before, but did you have an issue with Snoop hanging out with Diddy after Tupac got killed?
I always felt that was wrong. I'm gonna just keep it real. I'm talking about from that, like now, okay, you know what I mean? I'm 46, Snoop probably early 50s. If he figured out now, he might go by the opinion like, okay, Puffy had nothing to do with Pac, you know, we grown now. If he want to be his friend, no problem. But back then, that was just awkward. You know what I mean? And the reason why it was awkward to me that I never even like it because you knew how Pac felt about this individual. You know what I mean? Even if you don't agree with him, you probably could have said, you know what, I probably ain't gonna come out, you know, publicly with this because until things clear up, so I really know I could be certain that, you know, they didn't have nothing to do with Pac. But it's like, it was no, you know, okay, it is what it is. So that I never really respected that back then.
So you had an issue with it, you didn't like it?
Never really liked it. It just was a strange look because you was Pac boy, you know what I mean? Puffy, you know, it's clear they had some issues with Pac. And Pac died and all of a sudden you chilling with Puffy. Back then it just, okay, now you can say what you want. You go all grandfathers, I guess. You know what I mean? That's different now. But back then I think it was weird, it was tasteless. You know what I mean? It didn't seem like you really had that much love for Pac. You could have just, you know what I mean? Unless he pressured them or like questioned Puffy, like, yo, what's up with this? What's up with that? Then you could say, you know what I mean?
Snoop Dogg's name has never been included in court documents, indictments, or the federal accusations that led to Diddy's imprisonment. However, his name started to circulate online, along with some of the most grave accusations. Snoop's long history in the music business, where he met Diddy, Suge Knight, and numerous other influential people during one of hip-hop's most turbulent periods, is partly responsible for that change. Gene Deal, Diddy's former bodyguard, became a regular commenter after the documentaries were released. He implied in interviews that some people were uncomfortable since not everything made the final cut. Just that implication led to a lot of conjecture. Rumor-focused outlets swiftly asserted that 50 Cent purposefully omitted names, footage, and other information in order to avoid a more widespread backlash. Snoop Dogg became an easy focal point because he is well known and has strong ties to the business. Unverified reports, revived prison interviews, and old video recordings were reintroduced into the public domain and presented as proof. The online narrative started to treat association as involvement and silence as guilt. When each charge is considered separately, though, none of them prove that Snoop Dogg did anything improper. Rather, they just show that he worked in the same field as many of the people who are currently being questioned.
Like, I believe somebody mentioned that they seen a video with me and the dude Prodigy or one of the dudes from our Deep, as if I was with. They don't know the backdrop of that. I went to his hotel room ready to fight. Like, bro, I'll fight everybody in that room one-on-one. Even if I lose, it doesn't matter. The Outlaws was with me. My homie Tiny, the Mexican homie, was with me. I didn't go there and say, let me get in a video with these guys. I went there knocking on their door, doom, 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 tell them dudes to come out. What's up with y'all? What's up with y'all and Pac? You got a problem with Pac? Because we could just fight like man to man, face to face, and then shake hands. That was my approach with them. But when they told me they didn't have no problem, I don't mind being with you. You know what I mean? I don't mind shaking your hand because they told me they had love for Pac. So that's different, you know what I mean? If he come out and say, well, I already, you know, I questioned Puffy about it. I believe that he didn't, you know, he loved Pac. That's my opinion. I can move the way I want to move. So when people try to, I noticed somebody, I think on your page, do that. Well, Napoleon was in the video with Mobb Deep. They don't know how I got in that video with Mobb Deep, you know what I mean? I pulled up on him and but I'm the type of person, I've never been a bully type of person. You know what I mean? If I talk to a person like a man and they tell me face to face, look, I got love for Pac, I'm comfortable to know if I can look in their eyes, if I believe what they said, I have the right to say, okay, no problem, I believe you. You know what I mean? And maybe that's what Snoop went through, I don't know. But let the people know, because it was too early back then. You know, Pac just had died. You know what I mean? Like, he had the right to say, the reason why I'm rolling with Puffy, I questioned him about my homie, he gave me this answer. So then he did what he had to do, but it just, you know what I mean? I never really agree with that, to be honest. The same way I couldn't be on the stage with him. When they wanted to do that tribute, I just couldn't do it. Like, I really felt in my heart, like, man, I can't believe.
The true danger arises when association is taken for evidence. facts are replaced with suspicion, and stories veer from reality. The loudest voices are frequently the least trustworthy during times like these. Comamers, Sean. The revelation was never intended to be a comprehensive indictment of the music business as a whole. It was specifically directed at Diddy. The documentary follows his ascent via bad boy recordings, the institutions that allowed his behavior for years, and the power dynamics in his immediate environment. While staying rooted in the court proceedings that finally resulted in his conviction and 50-month imprisonment, it highlights victim testimonials and looks at established patterns of control. It doesn't, however, make unfounded accusations against unrelated people. The movie never mentions Snoop Dogg's involvement in illegal conduct or offers any evidence that he has committed any illegality. The idea that 50 Cent purposefully protected Snoop is still conjectural and unsubstantiated. Curtis Jackson has repeatedly declared that only information that could be independently confirmed and legally validated was included in the documentary.
Doing a documentary thinking he was going to come out triumphant.
Yeah, I didn't know that's how this started, is he started filming himself and getting this footage because he thought he was going to beat everything. Okay,
Diddy
that makes sense. Okay.
Has a relationship.
Netflix. I knew that.
With
Ted Sarandis. I saw that. Yes. Okay.
And he's filming it there. But of course, when you get, obviously it wasn't a clean sweep on the prosecutor's side, but you're still going to prison.
Yeah.
He basically kind of scraps it. It's not also Netflix is saying, because they commissioned it, right? Netflix is saying, all right, cool, just turn over what you got, and what we'll do, we'll make it what it is, because we're just following reality. Diddy's like, well, hold on now. If I lost the case, I'm down to still do it with you, but I got to be able to control it. Now, Diddy was probably going to kind of shape this doc to make it look like, hey, this was malicious prosecution. They kind of went really hard at me. Mm-hmm. I'm not a perfect guy, but I am a good guy.
Yeah.
And Diddy was like, I need to be able to craft it. And Netflix was like, no, you're not. And he's like...
Well, my question is, did he sign the footage over to Netflix so they own it? Mm-mm. Like, how were they able to do this without his...
No, but he didn't pay for it. So, essentially, they're calling it a payment error.
Ooh.
So, essentially... the deal falls apart, or he's like, we're not going to do this.
So awkward.
And the people who did the work that have all this footage, they're like, so wait, you told us to film because this is going to be on Netflix. Now you're saying Netflix doesn't exist, and we're not getting paid because Diddy was going to pay with Netflix money. And Netflix realized this, and they went to the filmers and said, hey,
if anything, the documentary showed moderation in a shock value-driven media environment, and it refrained from identifying specific people until their involvement was supported by documentation or reliable evidence that could stand up to scrutiny, which is why allegations of suppressed film have not been proven. There are currently no confirmed video available. Snoop Dogg is not mentioned in any court filings, and no investigators have named him as a focus of their investigation. After the documentary's release, Snoop Dogg officially backed 50 Cent, publicly identifying with Curtis Jackson and displaying no outward symptoms of animosity between the two. Since public endorsements are rarely associated with fear, avoidance, or an effort to remain hidden, this reality strongly contradicts the idea that Snoop was worried about possible discoveries.
Look at this through the prism of a modern-day rhetorical genius. A modern-day rhetorical genius. We're talking about the one, the great, the 50 Cent. All right, this guy's skill at rhetoric is absolutely next level, and this totally ties in with, how he famously is a big fan of Sun Tzu, The Art of War. Now, rhetoric with a capital R, I can just give you the definition of that. That's basically public speech, particularly public speech that is to persuade. Any persuasive public speech is rhetoric, right? Now, we kind of break that down into two subcategories of rhetoric with a lowercase r and dialectic. Rhetoric is essentially everything else, and really what moves the needle with like 97% of people and 100% of groups, okay, is in fact rhetoric with the lowercase r. So again, stuff like this, 50 Cent is an absolute master of. Basically, you know, he dropped this doc, this 50, this Sean Puffy Combs doc, and it's just kind of set the internet on fire. It's beating out Stranger Things. Like, it's a wild ride to watch, right? And one of the things that he does is he breaks down Diddy's character on Diddy's own terms.
Courtney Burgess's claims that he had flash drives linked to Kim Porter and that they included private information on public figures are the source of one often asserted assertion. Online criticism swiftly filled in the blanks by adding names, including Snoop Dogg, while ignoring important background information. Authorities have not confirmed the contents of these drives, and Kim Porter's children have openly disputed the veracity of any papers ascribed to her. Unverified content does not suggest misconduct in legal terms. There are currently no verified records, videos, or reliable proof that identify Snoop Dogg. Rather, when ideas solidified into presumptions, speculation increased and false information was allowed to proliferate unchecked. Despite the lack of evidence, rumors became into headlines, which then developed into widely accepted narratives. Unverified material in one's possession does not prove criminal activity. Online debate frequently overlooks the authentication, reliability, and verification standards required by law. Claims claiming Snoop Dogg is under pressure thus ignore important factors. There is no proof that he has been questioned, looked into, or connected to any legal proceedings as of December 2025.
Because he wanted them to both Suge and Pac.
In the car?
They only Pac. And they don't Suge. So allegedly, they got paid $500,000. The $500,000 was paid to the guy on the right, all the way to the right. You see the guy on the right?
Corey.
He's the one allegedly that got the $500,000. And that money never went to Keefe D or anybody else. The guy on the left is the one that stole the chain, the chain, which was a Death Row Records chain. That's a way of saying I got your rapper's chain, because if you were one of the guys, Death Row. So long story short, this whole thing is a recording that he said this. So what does Diddy do? Rob, can you pull up this song? It's a song called Black Rob, featuring Mark Curry and Mario Winans. If you can just type in lyrics, okay? So he gets $1 million. Can you go to the lyrics? And Diddy's in the lyrics when he gets started. Go a little bit lower. Can you type in the word in there, Rob? Nice guy. Type Control F, nice guy. Okay, right there. Look at it. It's 1999. No more Mr. Nice Guy. Been nice too long. I'm just going to start making y'all blank disappear. Man, first I'm going to take your records off the radio. Then I'm going to erase your social security number. You know, take your birth certificate out, flies. I'm going to do your whole effing family. Ain't nothing but mercy. And then, by the way, in the lyrics, he says, I'll drop $1 million on your head to erase you. Can you type in, I'll drop $1 million, just put Control F. Just go to Google and type this out. I'll drop $1 million on your head. I'll drop $1 million on your head, and just put Diddy next to it. Right there. See, it says Black Rob. What song came up?
Phrase.
I'll drop $1 million on your head. Erase you and your whole family, biatch.
Wow.
He's saying it in the song on what he did to get rid of Tupac.
Over the years, Suge Knight has frequently accused Snoop Dogg of betrayal, blame, and complicity in the circumstances surrounding Tupac Shakur's death. These allegations frequently come out again when industry scrutiny is at its highest. They are not, however, novel discoveries. These are long-standing accusations that have never been validated. Suge Knight made the majority of these remarks while incarcerated, usually in well-known interviews that garner attention due in large part to his contentious nature. Snoop Dogg has continuously refuted the allegations, characterizing them as untrue assertions